この世を渡り歩くにはより多くの身分を持った方が便利なの。君にもいくつか作ってあげようか。
Oh my god. They actually have a quest that starts when you interact with them. Like, they should just do it for everything. Like, I accidentally started Paimon's picture quest, not intending to, because I didn't even know Paimon's picture quest even existed. But because the front of Natlan is where I put my crystal flies and and I got the notification on the map saying, oh, your crystal flies are ready. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just teleport to the front of Natlan and pick up my crystals. And then immediately started Paimon's quest. And I'm like, fuck off. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. It's like, and that's even the worst thing you could do, right? Like, it's annoying enough when you put these, like, proximity-based quests. It's like, oh, you got too close. So the quest started. And, like, I didn't even know the quest existed. You know? I didn't even know that there was, like, the Paimon picture quest existed, because, like, that quest just was made that, like, day. It was like, you know, you log in and, I mean, maybe Paimon said something. You know, maybe Paimon said something. And then it's like, oh, like, when you first start, but, like, I had no clue what it was. And if you don't have the quest tracked, you don't see it anywhere on the map at all. So, basically, for me, since I was already tracking this, since I hadn't, like, completed it, and it was still being tracked, this was always pointing to Fontaine. So I didn't even see that there was a quest where Paimon was. Now, if I had opened up my map, if I had opened my quest log and navigated to Paimon, the intro quest for Paimon's pictures, I would have seen it was there. And so that's what's super fucking annoying. If you're not tracking a quest, it does not appear anywhere on the map. And that would be not a problem at all if you didn't have them triggered by proximity. If you couldn't just accidentally walk by them and start the quest. It'd be a non-issue at that point, because who gives a shit if you teleport to the front of Natlan, you know, and Paimon's there with a quest marker above her head, like, you know, who gives a shit if she's just there and you have to interact with her? It's like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, you see her, you're like, oh, that's weird. Paimon's never outside. This must be a quest. I'm going to ignore it, right? It's just that fucking simple. Just do exactly what you did for Yelan here. Just have her exist there so that you can interact with her as confirmation that you want to continue the quest. It's so annoying when you have these proximity-based quests that start when you're not expecting them to, even if you're tracking them. And the super sucky thing is that they place them at, like, the worst fucking spots for it too, where it's like, like, a Nephis quest, I think. It was like, oh, hey, you want to start a Nephis quest? Okay, go to the Land of Plenty. And where are we going to put the proximity-based quest starter? Oh, I know. Let's put it at the entrance of the fucking village. Let's put it at this place that if you were just normally exploring and you weren't tracking the quest, like maybe you just accepted the character quest just so you have it on your quest log so you could track it, which means now it's on the map, which puts it on the map with, you know, even if you haven't tracked it. And then if you were, like, exploring that location, you're naturally going to walk, because like there's only so many pathways. So if you're walking from the entrance of the village to the big Wayob, the big black pillar, it would you would naturally come across it, and you'd naturally trigger it. And later on, there are even some more quests within that same Inefa quest line that if you teleported to the black pillar directly, so like you could argue, okay, well if you're doing your weekly quests and stuff like that from the clans, you would just be teleporting directly to the black pillar, so you would miss that first starter. But later quests within the chain would actually were still proximity based and would trigger if you immediately when teleporting to the pillar, because that's where their starting point was. Their starting point was around that pillar, so just teleporting to the pillar would automatically trigger it. It's just so fucking annoying when you put a fucking proximity-based quest right next to a teleport. So the second you teleport to that location, you trigger it. And it's like, just don't do that. Have the NPCs in out-of-the-way locations. Like, hey, you want to start with Natland? Fine. Start in the inn. Put it in the inn. You rarely go to the inn. The only time you go to the inn is when you're doing the Natland Archon quest. That's it. So it's like, sure. I mean, to be fair, you run into the same issue for any players who are doing the Natland Archon quest while Paimon's picture of it is up. But it's like, it's much less of an issue than like putting it at the front of the Natland arena. Like, you're going in and out of that Natland main city, the capital, for all sorts of reasons. You might teleport you might have been trying to teleport to the Adventurers Guild, but accidentally got the wrong teleport, right? So many reasons to go in the front of the Natland building that, whether it's an Archon quest, whether it's other quests, whether it's just pure exploration, you could accidentally trigger it far more likely. Whereas the inn, the only time you're ever directed to go to the inn is as part of those Archon quests. So it's like, if you have Paimon there, you're just less likely to trigger it. In fact, the best place to do it would be like within the arena itself, or at the center of the arena, because you go there even more rarely. Like, realistically, you should put these quest starters either in places you wouldn't normally, places you have very little foot traffic. So places with the least amount of normal foot traffic, that's where you should put the quest starters, because that will reduce the likelihood of people accidentally triggering them. And I think that's just frustrating, right? When people want to be doing something else, and you're like, whoops, sorry, because you weren't tracking, because you didn't cycle through every single one of your quests to see exactly where they were, you accidentally triggered one of them. So we're gonna start you on this quest when you were maybe you were exploring, maybe you were in the middle of doing something else, and now we just fucked you over by starting this quest that you weren't ready for, and now you're stuck in this cutscene. Starting this quest, and maybe after this quest you want to go back to what you were doing, so you continue on with that. But now, when you want to go back to the quest and be like, okay, now I have time, now I'm ready, you might have forgotten what was discussed. Like, maybe you only had an hour to play that day before going on a week-long vacation. So you pop in, you think, oh, I'll get some exploration in done, and then you accidentally trigger the start of a character quest with like a 30-minute long fucking cutscene or something, or a 10-minute long cutscene. It's like, great, I only had an hour, now 10 minutes of it is gone, and I'm not going to be playing this game for another week. You come back and you're like, how did that quest start again? Like, yeah, it's like you can't replay them, you can't exit out of them. It's just like, please just stop doing proximity-based quest starters. Like, it's just, there are only negatives. Well, sorry, no, that's not true. It's not that there are only negatives. The only positive I can think of is just storytelling-wise, where it's like, oh, okay, if you make it proximity-based, you could have your character walk into a scene, essentially. So you could have the scene start with us walking in, or you could have the scene start with the characters within the scene interacting with each other. Oh yeah, these characters are all talking to each other. And then you walk in, and say, hey, what's up? And then it continues. So basically, it allows the characters interacting within each other to act as exposition for the quest. So it just makes it makes it more natural for you to walk in. Now, could you do it with an interaction? Yes, you still could, right? You could go up, interact with Yelan, and still have the characters interact with each other, and you walk in. Hell, and you might be like, oh well, that's not natural. You just talk to Yelan. Like, why would Yelan be chatting with someone else all of a sudden, and you walking in and saying hi when we had to interact with her in the first place, right? You could say, oh, that's not consistent. Sure. Yeah, it's not. But it also avoids the negatives. Plus, there's another way you could do it too. You don't have to interact with Yelan. They could just put a signpost, you know? They could just put a signpost saying, hey, quest starter for this quest, you know? Do you want to continue this quest? Yes. And then go into the same cutscene, right? So because you're not interacting with her, you're not interacting with Yelan. Sure, what's up? Okay, I'm done. But yeah. So yeah, basically that's just my complaint. It's just that like there are ways to make them not proxy. Genshin's going well. Oh, well, that's a long time then. I would say, I mean, I like it. I've been playing since 1.0. So I've been playing since the inception of this game. And so I've almost been playing for 5 years at this point. So I've been really enjoying it. I think it's a fun game. I like the exploration. It's fun. The exploration aspects of it are fun, and I like the quests. I like the story. Let's see, 2.0. So that's Inazuma. Yeah, I mean Inazuma puzzles. I heard that people didn't like them. I'd say if puzzles were turning you off, they definitely improved upon them, and they've added a lot more other shit to them. Yeah, I mean they've made subtle improvements to it over time, but not like basically they're kind of incorporating what Honkai Star Rail already did, but just not as good as Honkai Star Rail, which is a little bit of a shame. But they basically have added these potions that you can accrue every patch, I think, or every month, I forget. And basically, when you could use up potions to set the main stat and substat of your artifact. That is true. Like that is the other thing too, is that you have to work harder at it. Uh, to a degree, because I've been playing for so long, and because I mean, I guess because of power creep, if you have newer characters, you can beat older dungeons. Like, yeah, obviously, the artifact grind back in the day was kind of rough because like you rarely had like a full set of level 90 characters. You didn't have artifacts to begin with. You had to farm artifacts with no artifacts or with like 4 stars and stuff like that, and maybe not even leveled up because you didn't want to, waste your artifact experience. But eventually, over time, as you farm more artifacts and now you have more characters with 5-star artifacts, it makes other artifact domains easier. And then there are certain characters that just like make some domains just easier too. Like some ones, like there are some that have like lots of little tiny enemies And so they're enemy. If you can group them up together, that's really good. Like Viridis and Venerer, if you have like Venti, that's really good because you can suck them all into one pile because they're all a lot of little light enemies. But to be fair, they did actually change the artifact domains, I believe. I think they said they changed how some of them work. Or maybe not necessarily the artifact ones. They changed some of the... I know they changed the talent domain in Mondstadt, so they actually changed what enemies appear and like what the wave order and stuff like that. So they changed the talent domain in Mondstadt. I think they changed other ones as well. So like they've done some changes that way to make them less annoying. But yeah, like as you get more characters, you have stuff that can just help you overall. Yeah, like since the beginning, it's always been like people like since 1.0, people are always saying, don't try to build everybody, focus on like one team first. And that is basically true. Like if you try to build too many people simultaneously, you definitely do get burnt out because it just feels like you're always grinding. And it feels challenging because you just no one of your characters are super strong. And so like grinding just feels a little shittier. But if you have that like one strong team, then you can kind of like cover everything. So like I have my Milani team, which has a lot of Natlan characters and Emily, and it does really well. And it can basically just kind of like do really well in most fights now. So it's like, yeah, no matter which domain, even if it's like not perfectly suited for them, they can still do relatively well. But I've also built enough characters that like I can mix and match to like best suit a domain. Yeah. And let's see. So 2.0, you did have Zhongli, but they definitely had. But Zhongli was like pretty much the only shielder, and I think he's still one of the strongest healers. But they've added more shielders too. So they've added more healers, they've added more shielders. So you definitely have a lot more variety, and which does help for like party comps and stuff like that. And I mean, yeah, artifact grinding always kind of sucks. Like it's designed to be the end game. It's designed to be the thing that takes a long time to get perfect. For the most part, I only got good enough. Like realistically, all you really needed was to get artifacts within the same set. Like you needed to get your set bonus, right? You need to get your 4-star artifact set bonus. And ideally, if you could have the correct main stats, that's good enough for like future farming. Because usually that will give you just enough raw stats so that you can do well. Then of course you can come back and like farm for like for better roles, like the correct main stat with better substats and stuff like that. Let's see. That's rough. Zhongli was really good early on, and they changed him to make him even better too. Although I think they did that by the time 2.0 came around, or I forget when that buff came around. But basically, they buffed his damage. Yeah. The Geo Resonance when they changed their Geo Resonance, they made Zhongli's shield even better because it reduced the resistances of everyone around him. Oh, okay, so she's gone to Nodcrow. So yeah, I mean, it definitely feels rough in the beginning because in the beginning, like you just don't have any characters built. Like I actually tried to do a free-to-play account. I was like, oh, I'll just create a free-to-play account. I'm curious like what it would be like. But like this is like this is like in like 3.0 times, or 3 or 4.0, and so I had like a bunch of level 90 characters with artifact sets and all that shit. So, you know, coming from that and then doing a brand new game was rough. Like, because you forget how, so as you can see, a lot of level 90 characters. So, like, I have a bunch built. And there are some things, too. Like, so one thing is I get my artifacts good enough where it's like, okay, this is, you know, good main stat, decent subs, like, okay substats, whatever. But, like, there are some sets that you just kind of want to farm a lot anyway. Like, the Raiden set, this Emblem of Severed Fate, it works for a lot of supports. So like if a new support needs this set, when I'm farming for this set, if the subsets ever are better than what Raiden has, I swap it out for Raiden. So like eventually Raiden becomes more and more powerful as I'm farming. Yeah, I mean Noelle is rough. Like she's good, and Geo Traveler just sucks dick. I mean, Traveler in general is just terrible. It is a shame. Like, the only good Traveler is the Sumeru Traveler. Dendro Traveler is actually pretty decent. Like they do a really good Dendro application. Their burst creates a big field of Dendro application. Their skill has a relatively short cooldown, so you can do it relatively frequently. Natlan is okay, but you need to do a portion of the story before you actually unlock your constellations. Well, you need to do a big portion of the story before you even get the Fire Traveler, and then you need to do more story and quests and stuff like that to actually unlock all of the Fire Traveler's constellations properly. So that can kind of suck. But yeah, Traveler is absolute shit. But like, I do have a Geo team. So they added some extra Geo characters. Like Shiori is a really good Geo character. She's basically like Albedo, except better, because her constructs don't get destroyed. They are immortal. And Noelle actually got a little bit of a... yes. Eula is one of my favorite characters. She is my avatar as well. Up there. But yeah, that was the tough thing too, is that Eula, while she's strong and powerful and stuff like that, it's just that physical is just physical is just not great. Physical has never been in a good place. It's never. She says that like it kind of is rough, but yeah, like Chiori was improved albedo. The addition of Fiorina in 4.0, well, technically 4.2, but the addition of Fiorina in Fontaine gave Noelle a new lease of life. There's that, but like the whole point of what's really good about what Fiorina does is that her when she has her summons out. Where is she? There she is. When she has her summons out, they drain the HP of all your party members. So they apply Hydro fairly consistently, but they also, with every single one of their attacks, they drain the HP of the party. But she has she can change the mode of her summons to a heal summon too, but it only heals the active character. Yes. But the cool thing is that Fiorina has this buff, where her ultimate, Fiorina's ultimate, basically improves the flat damage of everybody. It's like, yeah, we're just going to huge damage increase for the entire party, and you get stacks. The damage increase is based on the number of stacks, and the number of stacks is determined by how much your HP goes up and down throughout the duration of the burst. So if she does her ultimate, and then has her adds out that are constantly draining her HP, she's constantly generating stacks because of that. But then you can swap to Noelle and do her skill burst and have her attack, which will heal the entire party, and that healing also generates stacks for the entire party. And the number of stacks you get is based on the amount you heal total, like the percentage of health you're healing from all your party members. So each party member can generate. So with Noelle's healing, she's actually getting stacks from healing every single party member. Each party member is generating stacks for that. So, like if you have Fiorina drain everyone's HP to 30%, and then have Fiorina do her burst, and then swap to Noelle and do skill burst, and then slap around a few times, get your party full healed. Now Fiorina's burst is running on full 100% boosting capacity. So yeah, Fiorina definitely, she enabled a lot of characters that did full party heals. Like, so Noelle can do full party heals, Jean, Barbara, those kind of characters got some big buffs. Like there were other healers that were like, oh well, they don't really do full party heals. They just focus on like single target. Like Chi-Chi only heals one person at a time for the most part. Like Kuki only heals the active player with her skill. So like there's characters like that, even like Xingqiu, his swords when broken only heal the active character. So there's a lot of characters that, and like Kokomi too, she can heal the entire party in burst mode, but she also has to be on the field to do her attacks in burst mode to heal the entire party, and Noelle is actually faster at doing it. So that's why Noelle's pretty good. I have her with 3,200 defense, but I gave her this because I've had this for a while. Because I had some... When farming for like Chi-Chi's set, I got a lot of... Maybe. I think it's something like that. I remember it being kind of annoying. I thought she maybe gets a particle when her shield breaks, but I forget. It's been a long time. And yeah, it was rough in the beginning when you don't have characters built, you don't have energy regen, you don't have good weapons. Like, it was hard to keep your bursts up to get good rotations around. And then eventually, you know, we got better. Oh, whoops, I forgot to claim that. Oh, whoops, I forgot to claim that one too. Let's claim both of those. There we go. So yeah, eventually, like, you were able to build sets, and then you can actually get, like, rotations. And that's when, like, farming didn't feel as bad, because you were able to do it much faster. It was just, like, really rough earlier on, when you just didn't have all those... Yeah. So it was just really rough. Yeah. It was just really rough early on. Early in the game, like before you had level 90, before you had your 5-star artifacts. And artifact farming in the beginning is not super bad because like anything is better. It's just like when you're trying to get like the best artifacts, that was kind of rough. But they've added this thing, which allows you to create directly from the set using these potion items that you get from the battle pass. You can sacrifice a bunch of stuff, but basically, yeah, you can actually farm. You can do it like this, and you can basically sacrifice leveled artifacts, which is not like 1-to-1. It's not like you have to put in 100 levels worth of stuff. If I put in a level 20. Oh, I can't put in level 20 because I've already extracted this month. But if you put in like level 20, it's like a certain amount of experience, basically, worth of stuff. So you could like, so this kind of encourages you to like level up artifacts just to see if it's any good, and then sacrifice the ones that turn out shit into this, and you get these potions, which you can then use to craft maybe whatever specific thing you're missing. So for this, I want the cryo with very good damage. You know, this would cost 4 potions to do that, and they improved it a little bit too. Because before, basically, what would happen is it would then randomly give substats, and then you could not roll into the minor stats as well. Yeah, I doubt you'd be able to do that now, because some of the main characters are really good. But they still have some utility. Like, people still use 4 stars, and like even for like the most challenging combat content, there are still people who do the challenge of, oh yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it with just like 4 stars. Like they added the Stygian Onslaught. Okay. They added the Stygian Onslaught, which has like these weapon skins, and obviously, they're very challenging, so you get people who, you know, do them with their whale accounts and do it, but then there's also people who try to do it with 4 stars, you know, for the challenge. So it's definitely possible, and it's definitely more challenging simply because of the time restrictions they have for it. But it's a little faster than yes, Bennett. My level 20 Bennett. In fact, if I could take back I would give back the 1 blue star that I got. just so I could leave him at a comical 1. But it's too late now. I leveled him and ascended him just so I can get the free wish. But otherwise, yeah, literally never use him. But you get people who are fucking stupid and use him in really stupid times too. It's like there's this one boss here, and the problem with Bennett's burst is that when you're in it, no, not even that. Well, I don't know if it's a C6 thing or not, but when the burst is up, it afflicts anyone within the burst with pyro. So I don't know if that is the burst. I'm not talking about like the infusion of your weapons, but your character itself gets afflicted with pyro. So you actually have the affliction. And the problem is every single one of the enemies, the boss's attacks in here are electro. So you're getting constantly blasted away because it overloads you. Because Bennett throws his burst down, which is what he's supposed to do. And then you get afflicted with the pyro and get overloaded every time you get hit. Which is really fucking annoying when people bring Bennett in for this fight. It's like, dude, could you please stop doing that? Could you please just don't afflict? I mean, it's the similar to how Barbara, wets herself and the party, or the active character when she does her skill. It's like the freeze thing where it's like, yeah, it was really annoying to use Barbara leveling up because you just get frozen so many times by the random cryo hilichurls and shit. Really fucking annoying. And Bennett for the most part is fine because in the open world and a lot of bosses, it doesn't matter too much. But in that specific boss, when every single one of her attacks is electro, having people bringing in Bennett is just really fucking annoying. Because you have to constantly dash back in to attack. And of course, dashing back in is risky too, because if they're doing multiple attacks, so it's just it just makes it much more challenging because having to get back in wastes time. So if you have only a certain amount of time for like a skill duration or whatever, you're wasting that because you're fucking having to deal with the overload. And then running back in, you could be running into an oncoming attack, which you might have not even had to dodge if you hadn't been blasted away from the boss in the first place. So, yeah, it gets kind of fucking annoying. Yeah, it was just really fucking shit. It really sucked. It was just absolutely terrible. That's why when I got Chi-Chi, so I lost my 50-50, got Chi-Chi, classic, and which wasn't a huge problem for me because it's like, cool, I stopped using Barbara and I started using Chi-Chi and I didn't have to deal with getting frozen anymore, which was great. So that was pretty cool. So every now and then, of course, like I try to throw Barbara in for like other teams to be like, yeah, I'll just try to use her. But I don't really need to anymore. But yeah, because like there will always be like, the cryo abyss mages, the cryo bow using hilichurls, constantly freezing you. It's just really, really, really annoying. But what can you do? So I did that one now. Some photos. Oh, let's see. So yeah, it was the main reason I didn't like Noelle is simply because how long her skill took to come off cooldown. And even still, like I didn't have her C6 right away. And like only at C6 does she really actually become useful. Because then she heals 100%. And so it was like, and especially in an early game when like no one's generating energy particles, because you're not able to kill enemies quick enough to get the energy particles from killing them or hurting them enough to getting past the HP thresholds. And then they weren't using their skills and bursts enough because of everything. So it's like, yeah, Noelle was just really rough early game. I mean, obviously she was the beginner wish thing, so I tried using her, but it was just like, yeah, I never did that. So I didn't have her C6 for a little bit. So the fact that her skill took forever to come off cooldown, and you needed skill and burst up at the same time. So it's like skill took forever to come off cooldown. She never had enough energy. And as a healer, you need to be able to like heal. And it's like, you also can't heal in between battles. So it's not like you can, so you couldn't beat a battle and be like, cool, I'm done, now let me just top off. Like, Barber at least allowed you to do that, where it's like, okay, battle's done, I can put up my skill and heal in between. Same for Chi-Chi. Now, Chi-Chi also had the same problem with a really long cooldown on her skill. Yeah, I didn't have that at all. But I can't even remember who I fought Dvalin the first time on. I remember having to do the mechanics, but basically once I got Ganyu, it was over. Because Ganyu can pop Dvalin's shield right before he does any mechanics. So when Dvalin's flying in, Ganyu can break his shield right from there. I can show you. Yeah, so it's just super, super easy. Obviously, I didn't have Ganyu when we beat this, because that was, you know... Pop. And there we go. So it does make all of it a joke. And you don't even need to climb up, which is also another annoying thing to do. You have to climb up, and there are all the... Sometimes there is the annoyance of like, oh, whoops. You couldn't... You're having, you know, issues climbing and all that shit, so... Yeah. So God, you made... Oh. And also they added Envisioned Echoes. Look at that. So pretty. They added these little particle effects. Zhongli has one too. Not for everyone. They added a thing called Imaginarium Theater, which you can do once a month, and doing the hardest difficulty will get you 2 keys. Let's see. I don't know how much. I never looked at how much I did per hit or anything like that, because I didn't give a shit really. But I do know that I did pause. So my Noelle has 3,200 defense, but I did pause at one point. And when I was in like the middle of her burst cycle, and she had like 5,500 attack or something like that. It was pretty big. Maybe 55 or 5,700. It was insane because of all the stacking shit she got. That was pretty fun. But yeah, they added these little particle effects to some of the characters. So they've added a bunch. Like the Imaginarium Theater, the Stygian Onslaught is kind of a more challenging in-game content outside of it's kind of more of a boss rush where you just fight 3 bosses, and that's all you do. You have to beat each boss within like 2 minutes or something like that on the hardest difficulty. And you can unlock weapon skins, which aren't super amazing, and they seem to reset, which is a little bullshit. But like if you want more combat challenges, there's that. And the story has gotten definitely more interesting. Like Inazuma was okay. I think Sumeru was really cool, and Trippy Fontaine was really interesting. Natlan has been amazing. A lot of Abyss lore with Natlan. And now we're setting up to go to the next area. There's been a lot of cool stuff going on. I've really enjoyed the story. But I have been walking for a while, so I'm going to take a break. I've been on my treadmill for the past hour. I need to take a little break and rest and get something to eat. That was nice chatting with you. Yeah. I mean, everything was about her burst because you wanted to stack her with defense so she could do all her best shielding and damage. And that was kind of a tough thing. She was kind of a dual scaling one, where it's like, yeah, a lot of her damage, like from her normal attacks and her burst, were actually from attack. But with C6, you could now take a portion of your defense and add it to your attack, which made her burst stronger and all that. So then it actually made it more worthwhile. Like Chiori is actually one of the few characters they did well when it comes to dual scaling because she literally dual scales. Her skill and burst both get percentages of both attack and defense. I think she's the only one where they've actually done that. Like, as part of the kit versus, like, some other patchwork thing of, oh, yeah, we're just going to add it in after the fact. Like, Albedo had the same kind of problem. Albedo was kind of rough where, like, yeah, his burst and attack was scaling off attack. Burst and basic attack scaled off attack, and then... But then his skill was purely off defense. And it was like, oh, okay, well, once you get a certain constellation, I think here, it now made your burst do some portion of your defense as well. The fact that you needed a constellation to do that, whereas like Noelle kind of just does it naturally. But yeah, Noelle had other issues, just keeping her full on energy. And the fact that you can only do her skill once every 30 seconds was kind of rough. Unless you give her the sacrificial sword, but even then, it's just like, but then you'd be missing out on, like, good options like the White Blind, where you can get attack and defense with every single swing, which obviously increases her damage. Yeah, it's a trade-off. And now there's just other characters. I mean, I recommend playing the game, but, like, it's kind of rough when you're coming back from a long hiatus, because it's not like your characters are any more built because you're away. And so you still have to build them, and that takes time. And it is rough in that early step when you have like a lot of characters you want to build, but you just don't have the resources for it. So like you just feel like you're constantly trying to build your characters, constantly farming, never-ending farming. It does help if you just focus it one at a time. And you're like, cool, I've gotten this one character done, cool. And that's basically how I've done it. That's why I have so many level 90s. Because I do it one character at a time. Like right now, I started a few that I'm in the process of leveling. I see. Yeah, I didn't get it because I like the fact that increasing your attack and defense, and that the defense percent is more useful for me. Because like the main stat of the Red Horn is crit damage, which is like it's fine, but like I'm having her there as a healer, so I really wanted to just stack healing. I'm not gonna stack her for DPS and give her crit rate and crit damage. Oh yeah, no, I was working on it in Nepha. That was it. So I need to build her a little better, her artifacts and stuff. But yeah, I have a few guys on the back burner getting slowly leveled. I lost my 50-50 and got Mizuki, so she's relatively new too. But yeah, just slowly building up them, but then pretty much everyone else is level 90, with the exception of Bennett in the naughty corner. But yeah, just do it one at a time, and then you're like, cool, I'm done, and I'm done with that. Maybe at some later point when you have them all max leveled, you might be like, okay, fine, I'll just go back and like maybe farm this domain, for some better, maybe look for some better artifacts for one or more characters. But then by that point, since you have so many level 90 characters, you'll be able to like put together a good team to like curb stomp the domain and not have a huge issue. Because like I've gone back to do some old domains with like new characters, and they're just really strong, or they provide utility that I just didn't have when I was doing it when it was current. I mean, yeah, because you're using Geo Traveler, which is notoriously shit, and Zhongli is not really built for damage for the most part, unless you have to go really out of your way to do that. So it's like, yeah, not surprising when all the other characters you use are even worse. But I would say Noelle and Chiori would be a good team. And then, of course, there's Navia, too. And Navia is a really interesting one where it revitalizes Crystallize. So basically, if you can get a lot of Crystallizes out and about, she absorbs Crystallizes, and if you absorb 3 crystals, her skill gets a super burst of damage. So it does a huge amount of base damage, 700%, but also gets bonuses for every single crystal she consumes. So it adds another 200% when you have all 3 stacks. When you have all 3 crystals, it makes it 910%. So it's pretty strong. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.